Namaste. Welcome back. This is part 3 of my book series, and today we are going to look at extra books that I have purchased to go with various tarot decks. And there are some big and beautiful ones. There are some ones that are full of words of wisdom and information and are so beautiful. So we're going to look at a whole variety of tarot extra guidebooks today. So welcome. My name is Sadhana, and very happy to have you here if you are new. So the first one that I want to share with you is the extra guidebook for Dust to Onyx Tarot. This is an absolutely stunning body of work by Courtney. I've lost Courtney's last name. It should be right here. Alexander. And I don't think that I would get as much out of the deck if I didn't have this extra guidebook. This is a hardcover, fairly thin book. And what you get in this particular book, you get her backstory, which is brilliant, or their backstory. I'm not sure what her pronoun is. But there is a large color photo. If you have the travel size edition, I would say this book is absolutely necessary. If you have the larger cards, maybe not so much. But this gives you an opportunity to have a larger picture, colored picture to look at, as well as know more of the details of the collage. So let's look at the more, just this page that I opened here. I'm just going to read it to you. Don't let the structures that you abide by lead to your downfall. There are laws beyond the ones you have established within yourself, and the universal spiritual laws that govern all. The Moor spreads this wisdom and knowledge through teaching and mentoring. There may be many paths to the same place, the infinite, and the Moor has learned which path best suits them and those who choose to follow. So we have an opening description of the intention of the meaning of the card, and then there is a description of the artwork, which outlines all of the bits and pieces of the collage. And I think when you are working with a collage deck, it is kind of imperative. I mean, any tarot deck you can read through your own discovery. And I have found a really valuable tool is to have a magnifying glass, which is not on my table right now. But when I was doing my deep dive with the Tildwick Tarot, it was so absolutely necessary to be with me. I couldn't have done it without my magnifying glass. There is as much content for the minor arcana as there is for the major arcana, if not more. And I find that so very helpful. I love it when a guidebook gives as much attention to the minor arcana as the major arcana. And this is just done so very, very well. There are faces, real faces behind these collages. And so the choice for that face is described as well. Okay, I wanted to go back to the very beginning of this lovely book. Another piece that I want to know about when I am discovering a tarot creator is their backstory. I want to know how they came to tarot, how long they've been working with tarot, what their experience, their motivation with tarot is. And this is shared so beautifully in this particular book. Honestly, I don't need instructions about the composition of the tarot and what the majors are and the minors are. This often is a very expensive piece to choose, to purchase another book. Like it's if you are going to buy a deck and then you have to buy a hardcover or a glossy covered book to go with it, it's expensive. So it's got to be really good. And I don't need it to be repeating something that I have in general reference books. So this is a really brilliant piece of work. And it's done so very, very well. Okay. Now I want to compare this rather thin volume, excellent thin volume, with what would be a fair comparison. Okay. This is the Prisma Visions Big Book, and it is twice the size. Granted, it does cover 2 decks. This is James R. Eads' large book, and when you open it, on one side you have Prisma Visions, and then on the other side is the Cosma Visions Oracle. And of course, Prisma Visions and Light Visions is the same deck with different colors, right? Now, this particular book does have James's backstory. And one of the things that I really like are these double page spreads of the whole story of the minor arcana. So this makes it definitely a worthwhile bit. Just let me go on here. Okay. However, well, let's give another plus first. Did I say hello to you all? I'm going to pause and say welcome. Hi, Amelia, Arya, namaste. And Saskia, welcome. Dee, hello, hello. Now, in this book, you also have color picture, full page. And sometimes this is really helpful to find details in a card, to see the card up large. For example, I would never trade my Shadowscapes Tarot extra large book, which is not on the table. I don't think it's available anymore, so maybe that's a good thing. But what is disappointing here is that the description of the card and the artwork is really, really brief. Like I feel this is quite generic, but let's read a couple of pages so you can get your own impression. A pelican is perched upon an ocean post, illuminated by a waning crescent moon. He piercingly regards a sodden lone wolf cast among the waves, paddling through unfamiliar territory. Hoping for an easy dinner, he has foolishly swum out beyond the cautious trappings of his solid world. Gazing up at the stoic pelican, the wolf realizes he has departed on a journey that could easily result in his own demise. Now, perhaps you don't notice the wolf in the ocean. And this little brief description helps you to see that there is a wolf here. But in general, the artistic descriptions are, they don't add more than you can see on your own. Yes, there is an upright and a reverse meaning. Let's go to the Six of Chalices here. A bare-skinned woman bathes in the river, cloaked in reeds and water lilies. Her hair loose, her eyes fixed. She is caressed by the sun-lit inlet. It washes away all the accredited accreted dust of her day, and she is soothed, reduced to her most natural, contented form. Baptized by the river, she is free. Upright meaning. Renewal, revisiting past memories and vibrancy. The world can be harsh and unforgiving, and it's easy to let the sorrow and grime of daily living dull the vibrant shine of your existence. But the river that flows through the Six of Chalices offers a chance to buff it clean, renew yourself, break the cycles of suffering by pursuing the simple, innocent values of childhood. Share, work together, be kind to others, immerse yourself, forget your cares, and rejuvenate. And I suppose this is helpful because James Eads is taking this card in a slightly different direction than you may be familiar with. So it's in that way, it's a great resource. Now, because Cosmovisions was his first deck that I purchased, I really appreciated having this back and forth ability to flip the book over and then compare and contrast his understanding of the Six of Lotuses with the Six of Chalices. So in that way, this was really good because it helped me to expand my understanding of what he was doing with this deck, which he was taking in a very different direction. So, I think for the most part, if you're going to get a book with large colored pictures of the deck and you're going to spend time and work with the book, it usually is a good investment. Okay. I want to comment on Tarot of Vampires. So this is a deck that is not in my library. And actually, I need to go and press the buy button. I hope it's still there. It is in my Amazon cart. And as many of you are aware, this deck has gone out of print. So if you want to purchase this deck, you need to grab it as soon as possible. Yeah. Okay. Also, both of the previous books I showed you are bound beautifully, which is also really important. And if you are spending money on a deck, on a book, extra book, I want good binding. I spent many months going through the Thoth Journey Tarot alongside the Ashera Tarot in a challenge in the Mindful Tarot group. And I really appreciated having this book. And this book gave me something a little bit different in that it inspired me to be more thoughtful in my journaling. So, again, you have a full, large, colored picture of the card. And the cards are bright and beautiful and colorful, and you don't really need this. But what the gift of this extra book is Joanna's journal entry. And her journal entry is really, really descriptive. And what this doesn't do is it doesn't explain. It's not one of those books that says, this is how Joanna is weaving in the symbology and the nuances of the Thoth Tarot. You have to have studied the Thoth Tarot to pick up on that or know something about the Golden Dawn system. This is a journal, quite literally, and it's really, really beautiful. So in every card, Joanna walks through, if you don't know this deck, I'll just go back. The journal, the story begins in a room, and there is this place. You could say the room, the space of the mind. It could be the space of the heart. And in each of these journal entries here, Joanna leaves the room and walks out into a landscape. And she never knows what landscape she is walking out to. And at the end of each journal entry, she goes back to the safety of the room. They are really quite extraordinary. And the other beautiful part here of these journal entries is that what you see in the card is only a piece of what is described. What you see in the journal entry is only a piece of what is drawn in the illustration. So you get the background information of the illustration. And for example, this figure here is only a little bit of the story. And it really helps to understand what is going on. So for example, let's go to the adjustment card, which is a really, really beautiful card. So you look here and there is a gazebo. I just want to respond to Arya's question. Arya says, I don't expect to be in the video today, but I do not have a comment. I don't have that. Sorry. So if anybody else has an answer, please let Arya know. Okay. All right. So here we go. The world pauses today, and she looks around the hallway of beginnings, which is where each of these stories begin. That something has changed, that the fabric of the universe has shifted slightly, giving everything a fresher edge. The stairs seem to turn in a more elegant phrase, whilst the light of the distant windows is balanced by violet shades that embrace the corners and cornices of the hallway. More chairs seem to have been added along the wall on the other side of the staircase, and she wonders if other people will eventually join her, solitary meanderings into the worlds which have no end. She senses music in the silence, adding substance to the air, giving it a form and structure that she has never noticed before. Resonance. She walks out into a quiet and dimly lit landscape, dark with only the moon and stars for light. The silence of the place is immense, but within it a long gracious avenue leads through a beautiful moonlit garden where a tapestry of blues, grays, cobalt, and silver are intimately and elegantly entwined, waltzing through a colonnade of urns and statues that line the marble-flagged walkway. What a place! She is mesmerized by the meditative beauty of her surroundings and starts to feel even more relaxed than she already is. A profound calm descends. Her heartbeat drops, and the stretch of her breathing slows and deepens. So I am right here on the page. So we haven't even yet had a description of what we are seeing here. So these journal entries are so beautifully and fully set up and captured. And once you read the journal entry a couple of times, you will certainly have an impression and remember what is being represented. She describes her experience in this magical and mystical place of her meditation, of her heart and of her mind. So if you, I would say that this is a absolute must to go with the cards. I was trying to remember, I have several books and I don't know if sometimes the guidebook actually comes with it. And I was looking at the Red Seeds Oracle, and yes, that one does come with it. So if you have a book that goes in a different direction, I think it's really important to get your hands on the extra book. Beneath the Moon is a companion book for Tarot of the Divine. And it is also a stand-alone fairy tale book. And there is certainly a problem with this book. So I'm going to go to the index. We have a table of contents that has the 78 tales, the page numbers for the 78 tales. However, in this work, there is no, there is an index. There is no reference to the tarot deck. So naturally, those of you that know me, you can laugh and tease me. I created a spreadsheet. I'm actually going to put it in here. I didn't get around to doing that. It's on my computer, but I want to actually print it and put it in here, probably in the table of contents, so that I know which story goes with which card. And at this point, I know most of them, but certainly not all of them. Another brilliant piece here is that the versions of the fairy tales are quite short. And I like that because it allows me to sort of capture the essence of the creator's intention for choosing this story for this particular card. I don't need the whole long 25-page story. And not that any guidebooks give us that much information, but there are a few fairy tale decks where I feel like just getting the gist of the fairy tale, if I don't know it, is really, really helpful. I don't need the whole thing because I'm in the process of learning and trying to understand a deck, and it is not really about learning the whole fairy tale, if that makes sense. These stories are from all over the world. There is a lovely blend of European, different tales from different Asian countries, lots of different countries in Africa, India, so from some of the great Indian epics. South America. It really does, this is Scotland, of course, a great job of including cultures all over the world. And I've gone back through this book a few times, and one thing I would like to do with this particular deck is to reorder some of the cards. I feel like there's a few that I want to switch around, like I did with when I did the Hush Tarot. I moved some of the cards around so it made more sense to me. But yeah, I think this is a beautiful companion book for Tarot of the Divine. beneath the moon. Okay. When you spend a ton of money on a Baba Studios deck, is it worth purchasing the extra guidebook? Because you do get quite a substantial little white book with the deck. And my opinion is absolutely yes. Karen Mahoney writes a brilliant guidebook, and these guidebooks are of very high quality. I've had a few of their decks over the years, and I really appreciate the backstories, the background behind each of the cards. And there is often, like, oh my goodness, this is just, it's so much detail and information. And there's always details about the costuming and the process of the creation of each of the cards. And I do appreciate the colored photos, because then I don't need to have the deck in hand. I can just take this book to a chair and really enjoy and work with the book. Karen is an absolutely brilliant guidebook writer, and I would say without a doubt, these are so worth it, regardless of the deck that you are purchasing. Now, I want to contrast that with the extra guidebooks for the Usi decks. There is one. So, oh my goodness, the tarot, the one that is the periodic table, not the tarot, the oracle that is the periodic table. I absolutely needed that book. I wrote all in it, and the guidebook is all falling apart. It did not hold up for the amount of use that it got. However, Pagan Otherworlds, I don't think you need the book. It doesn't add that much. It's a very brief description, and I know these cards aren't that complicated, and this is it's Rider-Waite-Smith inspired with more of a Pippish twist, but you don't really need the book. And so, for example, here's the Six of Wands. There are 6 upright wands. There is a wreath, like we see in the Waite-Smith. Rolling green fields, alternating between sunshine and cool shade, are enclosed by a line of protective mountains. In the forefront stand 6 wands. Victory here is expressed in formation, a unified line arranged in a powerful flow of connectivity. Threaded through this line is a white banner of peace and harmony. Above it rests a laurel wreath tossed to the top of one of the center wands, an outside gesture of recognition. Both of the center wands break formation ever so slightly to form a V. There is the sense that events have been arranged to come together in fulfillment of a shared goal, but one whose ultimate meaning and success lie further down the line. I was curious about, I purchased this book because I was curious about some of the cards where I didn't understand so much the choice of the rock formation or something like that. And I really didn't find that, like, I intuitively, you can read what's going on here in the rock formation and how that is reflected in the energy of the Two of Cups. So I would say certainly not for this deck. And it would depend on your familiarity with the tarot, perhaps, but I would say absolutely for Baba Studios decks, and maybe not so much for Usi. And I see that Tammy Pie commented on that as well too. I wish I had it on the table. That extra book is so brilliant. And I do have another Voyager Tarot book on the table that I have shared many times on my channel. And this one is not even written by James Wanless. This is another companion book. And this poetry is so inspiring. And there is a beautiful poem for each of, I can zoom in a little bit just so you can see, for each of the cards. And so for example, if you like the Margaret Peterson Tarot and the poetry that goes with the cards, this is really, really brilliant. And sometimes the poems have words that speak to the collage in the Voyager Tarot that, of course, isn't universal. But a lot of the time, the poems are absolutely universal. And I just really, really enjoy these. Let's read 8. 8 is balance. Balance is a quest, a dance. It comes fleetingly on the wings of an in-breath, only to part on the exhale. It is impersonal. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit more. It's not really focusing. Okay, you'll have to just listen to my voice. Okay. It is the sign of infinity upright. 8. Balanced. Balance is a dancer on a sword, a hummingbird resting on its beak. It is justice searching for validation, and you looking for that moment of still peace. Balance is what we came to find. It is immortality squeezed into a moment. Balance is justice for all as a projection from within. Its energy is stable but fleeting, eager but sober, piercing and unbiased. Balance speaks from one mind, heart, body, and spirit as one voice. We all yearn to hear and speak as a whole. The children of balance are stagnation and change, synthesis and harmony. When you steady yourself on the balance card, excavate your inner pyramid. Oh, that's so good. When you steady yourself on the balance card, excavate your inner pyramid. Take the chance to equalize all your aspects on a higher level. Like, it's just so, so good. I can't tell you how many times I read one of those poems to center myself, and it can be for any deck. So I absolutely love, love, love that book. Yeah. Okay. I do like books. I really do. Okay, let's go to an older one. This one I found on eBay for a pretty reasonable price. And this is the companion book for the Barbara Walker Tarot. The latter half of it, anyway. Okay. The Barbara Walker Tarot is, I think, a formative deck. And what is the name of that book? This one? It's available on Amazon. It's very thin. It's just beautiful. I think the Barbara Walker Tarot is a formative deck. And oh my goodness, I wish I had a full-size deck. I just have the tarot in a tin. But The one you just read, yeah, I got that. You got that? Okay. So it's the Voyager Tarot Companion. The beauty of this book, and I would compare this book in its esotericism and thoroughness to the companion book to Tarot of the Holy Light. And I think that both of these books are standalone reference books. If you are in a deep dive studying the tarot, these, and you are, you like wandering down rabbit holes, these are amazing, amazing books. Now, my Tarot of the Holy Light is starting to fall apart. And that makes me mad because I'm going to have to do some librarian work on it. But it's really helped me. And the thing is that when you are doing research on Tarot de Marseille, when you're looking at even older decks and the transition from those Marseille style decks to the more esoteric flavor of what began to happen with the Golden Dawn, this book takes you through that journey. It makes so much. It just helps things to make so much sense. And I think pretty much every single card I've been able to capture one line that is the essence of the card. And it's helped me to make sense and to bring bits and pieces together. I don't like, can I say that? I don't read with Tarot of the Holy Light. I'm doing so much deep study with many other decks, and it's just one that I haven't gotten to. But this companion book has really helped me with other books. So it's brilliant. Now, and I did get the volume 2 for this as well too. I really didn't need to. There's so much wealth of information in this book. I'll come back to the Barbara Walker book in a second. So, and again, this idea of not diminishing the flavor of the minor arcana. So here is 7 of Cups. And the minor arcana gets as much treatment as the major arcana. The other piece of goodness in this book, which is so helpful, are the different tree of life variations. And if you have studied, what's it called? Marielle Tarot. If you have studied Thoth Tarot, sorry, I'm just looking for something here. Oh, and this one even discusses playing cards and the evolution of playing cards. Number theory, number theology in the pips. I mean, it's just so good. And then also after the groups of numbers, there is a summary of what the 1, 2, 3 means, or the 4, 5, 6 means. I really like it. Sorry, what I'm looking for here. Maybe they're at the back. No. Okay. So if you have been studying the Tree of Life and you have questions about the triads, or maybe you've seen different paths and different things, this is such a great reference for helping to clear that up. And so, yeah, I really keep this book close at hand. And you can see it is most definitely falling apart, unfortunately. This is, can I say this is a Yoni book? You can see I got this secondhand on eBay, but it was in great shape. The joy of this particular book is the first section, where Barbara talks about the history of tarot, and it is such a joy to read. And maybe, I don't know, you know how sometimes you can go to Scribed or other places and get synopses of books? I wouldn't surprise me if you could find the first section of this book on Scribed. So I just want to show you something here. The Greater Secrets. So this is the majors, right? So part 2 of the book begins at page 57. So the 50-page introduction here is worth its weight in gold. No colored pictures. Also easily could fall apart. But just a wonderful, wonderful resource. Okay. When I purchased the Literary Tarot, I'm not sure why I purchased the Literary Tarot actually, but I did. And I did not purchase on the Kickstarter this book. I went back to get this book because I wanted more information about the cards and about the background story on the cards. And this, honestly, this was kind of a disappointment. It's a beautiful book. It is well bound. It's not going to fall apart, but it did not give me enough of what I was looking for. So, for example, if you don't know this deck, each card is associated with a different piece of literature. And so we have the High Priestess here, King Lear, and there's somebody who's credited for that particular pairing. And it really doesn't go in. It assumes that you have read the novels that are or the pieces of literature that are associated with it. I mean, you get a little bit, but I think that they could have put a lot more in here. So let's look at this Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands. We've all got secrets, but how many of us are secretly a werewolf? That's just what's troubling Bisclavret in the Marie de France poem of the same name. As a nobleman, Bisclavret has a solid and stable life, but then, wouldn't you know it, 3 days a month, he wolfs out. Eventually, the king is hunting him, and Bisclavret can no longer return home or to human form. Danny Lohr, comics writer and author, came to us hoping to include the classic werewolf tale in our literary tarot. Does Bisclavret work for you? They asked us. It's one of my all-time absolute favorites. One of the first ever appearances of the werewolf as romantic victim. After reading the piece ourselves, we were more than happy to include it. In fact, we got to say, one of the best parts of this entire project has been learning about classic texts that we'd never read. We did some digging in the tarot and returned to Danny with this pairing idea. 7 of ink, indicating a struggle that you need to go through. So what I'm saying here is that I wish there was a little bit more information or a little bit more of a Cole's notes of the poem. It would really help. Now, granted, this is a beautiful book. You do get an extra large version of the card, and when I get around to actually studying this deck a bit more, I definitely will go back to Oracle's Atlas Literary Tarot Classics Edition. Okay, so yeah. You know, sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's not. I don't even think I really need to put this one on the table. If you love Deviant Moon, I'm sure you have this book. And if you don't have Deviant Moon, this is quite the book. And it's almost like this book might help in other ways in understanding this is Patrick Valenza as a young boy drawing. I mean, this is such a wonderful biography and story of the creator. You know, oh, to have time just to sit and read beautiful books. So there is the backstory of the Deviant Moon, and a lot of these cards are set in, like the physical location of the decks is very specific, and I just really appreciate all of this backstory. It gives the deck so much more meaning, right? So this is just all the introductory bit. And for most of the cards, you also have the process of creation of the cards, the various versions and the things that the creator was thinking as the card was being designed. This is a very large book, and I would say, is only for those that have large bookshelves. But it's a delight and a joy. I don't know if it's available as an ebook, but as a physical book, wow, what a joy to have in your hand. Yeah. It's big, it's heavy. And yeah, beautiful. Okay. I'm often asked about, because I've done a deep dive on my channel with the Wildwood Tarot, do you need to buy these extra companion books? So the Wildwood Tarot I'm assuming you would buy the version with the large guidebook. I don't know why you wouldn't, but people do. This is the book that comes with it. And in this particular book, there is this invaluable page that has the cards on the wheel of the year. And these descriptions of this tarot are brilliant, and they are pretty much all you need to work with the tarot. If, however, this is your deck and you are really loving working with it, I can't say enough about Wild Magic. I prefer this one to A Year in the Wildwood, but I'm going to share them both with you. Now, Wild Magic has its subtitle is the Wildwood Tarot Workbook. It expands on the choices that were made for the shape of the year, and has and shares more stories of the creators' experiences in the woods in the UK that formed the choices of the cards. And it really takes you into the heart of the of the wildwood. The other thing that is so brilliant in this book are the meditations that are at the back. So there is a final section that has meditations, pathways, journeys, and cues. And because these are historically rich physical locations, I'm sure you all know the word imprint. You know, when you go to a historic location where there has been, I don't know, like a war, or maybe it's at a prison, or just some places have an imprint that is so thick, and you walk into the environment and you can feel it on your skin. Well, the meditations in this book are from some pretty potent cards. I have narrated this one as well as a couple of the others. And when you get a meditation book like this, I think either yourself or you can have somebody narrate it so you can listen to it. And because the idea with the meditation, right, is you're being guided and you're not using your mind in the way that your eyes are processing the words on the page. So it's so worthwhile to actually sit with your voice memo and read it aloud and record it, and then listen to it. And then following each of the meditations, there are suggestions for what to do following the meditation, as well as a spread that supports the journey of that particular meditation. So yeah, I really like this book. It's lovely, and a really good quality book as well too. Alison Cross. So there is a Facebook group for this book for the Wildwood, like it's a Wildwood study group, and Alison posts in there regularly. And this is a book that takes you through the Wildwood in the order that the cards present in the Wheel of the Year. Okay, so in the Wildwood Tarot, the journey begins in the suit of air, the suit of arrows, and just let me get to that page for you. Okay, so you begin in Arimulk, which is February 1st. And the cards that come around February 1st are introduced: the outer circle, the inner circle, the majors, the minors, and the court cards. So you work with the cards season by season. And it is, if you're doing a like, this would be very similar to doing like a Decan walk, but this is a year in, quite literally a year in the Wildwood, and you go through the cards in the order that they are presented. And I did this one year and followed and read Alison's book bit by bit, and I had the cards on my altar, and I did readings and focused on and studied the cards in this way. Probably the year before that I did my deep dive that I shared. So it is a large print. There are no colored pictures. It is simply Alison's narration of the year in the Wildwood. And it might really, really help if that is something that you wish to do. Okay. This well-loved book. Oh my God, it's just wrecked, this book. Robin Wood was one of my first tarot decks. I spent many years with this deck, and the first thing that hooked me on this book were the years that Robin lived in Okinawa, and I just loved that little bit. And so that was my hook that made me fall in love with Robin Wood. And then there were certain things about this book that really helped with deepening understanding. Now, I think this book might be really useful for its, I mean, just look at this list of symbols and things. There's some juicy chapters in here. And while I read the tarot in a more holistic way these days, I think this is a great companion book. Oh, I love the way she describes this card. I'm going to read part of it for you. This is the Five of Swords. Just let me, it's so funny. So this is the picture, close up of this saucy fellow. There is a description of the artwork, but a little further down it says, where is her description? Hopefully I can find it. Oh, it's right up at the top. It's right up at the top. Oh, okay. So never mind it. I thought it was part of the text. Her keyword is nana nana, nana nana. And she calls this a nana nana boo boo card. The figure on this card has red hair, brown eyes, and is dressed in the colors of smoke and fire. This is to show that if you play these games, you may win for a time, but you are likely to get burned in the end. In mythology, the fire gods were often trickster gods as well. Fire may seem to be your friend, but if you don't watch it, it can quickly get out of hand and burn you. The sky is wild and the wind is blowing hard. These are both signs of change and of untamed power, untrammeled by the rules that the rest of society plays by. This fellow has won. Swords stand for knowledge and power, and he has taken them all. He has won all the knowledge, all the power for himself, but he cheated. And from the way he holds the sword, you get the distinct impression that he doesn't have the faintest idea what to do with it. It often seems to me when I see this card that the trickster has won simply to win. His whole goal is to defeat the others, not to gain the prize. In his right hand, he holds a sword with griffins on the hilt. And what this book does is it describes her art, every detail, every color choice, every little nuance, the hair. One of my impressions was I've never heard a tarot writer talk more about hair than Robin Wood, whether the hair is down or it's in a bun or whether it's in a net. Like it's a really great book. I mean, there's a few books that I've sort of I think it's a great companion book. It's a great beginner book. Yeah, I need to reread it. It's been a long time since I have. So much appreciated this book. Yeah. All right. I have one more, last one. And I wanted to pull this out earlier with one of the other ones. Okay. And it's really funny. When I got this book, I was reading it on the ferry, and I had more funny looks at people glancing at the title of the book I was reading. I think it's just such a great title. Barbara Wintner is the creator of the home. Oh my goodness. Home. The tarot name will come to me. It will come to me. What's it called? Somebody put it in the chat, please. It is in in some way, I was going to say it's a minimalist deck. It's got lots of good color. I really like this deck. I love the court cards. But this book is so funny. I read this cover to cover, just laughing and enjoying in the way that she spoke. And one of the things about Bhaskara is that when she created this deck, she did not have very much. Oh, thank you, Tammy Pie, The Way Home Tarot. She did not have much experience. So this book, just so you know, 2017. Oh, and also check the publisher. If you're going to get this book and you don't have it, check the publisher. Mine is Page Street Publishing House, and mine is all stitched. It's really beautiful because I've heard people buy this book from a different publisher and it all fell apart. So really good. I mean, she addresses everything, gender. There is a rough sketch of her cards, but not the final sketch of her cards. So I believe this book was written before the deck was, hello Antoinette, finalized. And everything is so, well, you can tell by the title. The descriptions are all so matter of fact. And she includes a practical situation that she encountered for each of the cards. The minor arcana gets a little less treatment. So we have a picture of the ace, and this is ace, 2, 3, 4 of wands. Oh, I can see. Okay, so the final 4 of wands doesn't quite look like that, but yeah. So in a way, this is a companion book to the Way Home Tarot, but in a way, it's not. And this is, I shared in the last episode, Athene's court card book. This is way better. So much better. But I shared that one because the whole book is on court cards, which is really, really tricky. So the other thing too are the funny keywords for each of the cards. 3 of Swords, the first cut is the deepest. 4 of Swords, take a disco nap. 8 of Swords, it doesn't have to be hard. Are these all song titles? They might be. Maybe not. So I would say that the highlight of this book is the court card section. And I'm going to read you the description from the Swords family. If I can find it quickly. It is, oh my God, it's just so good. Oh, it goes on, you know? How the fuck do I give a reading? It's irreverent, but it's very, very helpful. Okay. And I can bend the book open because it's got great binding. All right, Swords family. And this is the general description of the whole family. When you seek out the Swords family house, you end up in the suburbs, in a neighborhood chosen for its low crime rate and excellent public school systems. Dinner consists of a protein, vegetable, and starch, and is on the table at 6:30 p.m. every night. It's pretty good. It would be better with wine, but there is none in this house. The conversation is perfunctory and polite, consisting of summarizing their days and going on at school, at work. No voices are raised. Dinner ends at 7:15, by which time you're really, really fucking bored. Routine and structure are the backbones of this family makeup, and the environment can feel severe, dry, and strict. They are financially stable, but never showy with it, preferring to smartly invest. This family gets a bad rap because they're a drag and zero fun, but their stability is unwavering and their integrity second to none. Their kids will always be safe, always have dependable parents, and always be loved, perhaps expressed through actions and deeds and not words. Talking about feelings is not the strong suit of the swords. They are highly intelligent and feel more comfortable in the realm of rationality and logic than tenderness and intuition. Though the intentions are good, living in this atmosphere is both creatively and emotionally stifling. They probably don't believe in magic. The descriptions, it has a picture of their house. Here, have a look at this. So here is their house in the suburbs. It's so funny. Let me read you one more because it's just that good. Now, I want to say something else. Her descriptions really get you to think about your view of the court cards. I have, of course, expanded my perspective of these 16 faces of the court. And the description that she has there is a version of what a swords family might look like. And I think as early on in your tarot journey, reading something like this can be really, really helpful because it gives you something so concrete and so specific to cling to. And I just think it's really lovely. All right, I wanted to read the Cups family. And it's funny, you know what movie I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Barbara Streisand, and oh my goodness, it was one of those family movies. Okay, sorry, and I think Robert De Niro, Barbara Streisand. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, Cups fam. Here is their house. You catch a train to upstate to Woodstock to check out the Cups family house. It's an old barn with high ceilings and big plant-lined windows. The walls are covered in art. You look around and see records, the sun taking paintbrush to canvas, braids of garlic hanging from the ceiling of an eclectic and charmingly mismatched collection of furniture. The daughter greets you wearing a rainbow tutu and glitter eye shadow, hands you a flower and reads your palm. The mother calls hello from the kitchen, pots and pans on all burners, and whatever she's cooking smells like home. They're hippies. Are you on a commune? You feel at ease. It's a nice night, so you eat outside at a weathered picnic table heavily carved with drawings, messages, and initials. Fresh flowers adorn the table and candles flicker in their votives. You drink mead. The meal is an old family recipe, complete with vegetables from their garden, and you've never eaten anything so delicious. You ask for seconds and have to refuse thirds. You ask where the father is, and mother laughs and brings you out some moonshine. You don't bring him up again. You crash on the couch because you're too drunk to get home, and you don't feel awkward about it. The next morning, the mother sends you off with a Tupperware full of leftovers and probably some magical tincture to cure your hangover as well. Okay, so that's it for today. And I think my general message here is that there's a wealth of information in some of these books, and they can be used as resources unto themselves without purchasing the deck. So sometimes we don't necessarily need a general guidebook. That these are just as great resources to have. Antoinette, that really bring a picture to mind. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Okay, so next episode, I'm going to talk about tarot books for healing with the tarot therapy, that sort of thing, tarot and psychology, tarot and meditation. Okay, I have a lot of books. I might have to do it in 2 parts, but we'll see. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today, and if you are enjoying this series, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, that would be wonderful. Take good care of yourselves. I will see you soon. Bye for now. Thank you, Perry. Bye, Dee.